Hi, it's the Constant Angler. I'm going to do a review of the Seasir Commando 100 size BFS reel. Let's have a little look at the box. Those to start off with, Commando. There's the reel itself. Little quirk there. They've got a question mark with magnesium underneath it, aluminium, and I don't think this reel's magnesium. They do seem to use the box for a multitude of reels. You can see their Castex model there, which is a model down, Masonry, which is a model up, the repeater they also do, so it's sort of a one box fits all. But are they alluding to something to come? That seems to be the feeling in the BFS community. Anyway, let's open it up and see what we get. So there's the reel itself. Take that out, and we also get an extra spool. Now this is why I bought this reel, because you've got a shallow spool plus a deeper spool. I'm hoping it's very versatile. Let's you also get your schematics diagram leaflet in there. I'm not going to open that up. I think it's pretty much a general diagram for all the reels anyway, so it might not be specific. And let's put that spool aside for the moment. So yeah, why did I get it? Well, as I just said, I like the look of having two spools. I like that option, and I'm hoping that it will, as they state, cast lures down to 3.5 grams, but also be able to throw heavier lures like a standard light bait caster. It is a 100 size, so it's a little bit bigger than 50 size BFS reel. And just having a quick look over it, it's a very nice looking reel. It has purple accents here on the end tension knob and the spool. I like the look of it. The finish is like the Acura Hick 50. It has a drag control dial there, which is in the Shimano vein. They're okay, they work. Can be tricky when your fingers are cold and wet. Prefer other dials myself, larger dials. But there you go, it's personal preference. It's got a beautiful handle, carbon handle, and I love these little grips on the end. They're probably the best I've seen on a Chinese bait casting reel. Well, that's my opinion anyway. If you look at the Solar King BMC 100, you'll see that it has the sort of copycat Shimano ones. Yeah, they work in practice, but they are cheap. They are plasticky. So yeah, talking about the BMC 100, they're both made on the same frame, in the same factory. Different manufacturers add their own little idiosyncrasies, like different brakes, different looks, that kind of thing. But they're essentially the same reel. They're clones of each other, and there are other clones. So let's continue with our look at this reel then. So it's got a carbon frame. This helps myself because I'll be using it in salt water for sort of para BFS and wrasse and bass, that kind of thing. So I find these cheap reels easier to maintain. The spools are aluminium. So as I said, you get a shallow spool and a deep spool. If we talk about the weights of the spools, the standard spool, or what I call the deep spool, is 13 grams in weight. That's no problem at all. The shallow spool is 9.4 grams. So that's heavy for BFS. But if the brakes can handle it, and it's as free running as it appears, it may or may not be a problem. We'll see that with my casting on the bank. Spool capacities, the shallow spool with a line of PE1, it will do 150 meters, so that's plenty, and PE 1.2, 130 meters. I'm talking, when I'm BFSing, I'm using PEs 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, and I'm only ever really putting up to 60 meters on my spools because it helps with tangles, birds' nests. So plenty there. The deep spool, there's plenty there if you want to use it as a standard bait caster. It has the deep spool here has a capacity of PE2 200 meters or PE 340 meters. So yeah, loads of capacity there. Gear ratio wise, let's see if it says it on here. I think it does somewhere. It is 7 to 1 to 1. Yeah, it does say it. It says it there. Can you see it on the purple accent right where my thumb is there? Just about. That's a standard for the industry, I would say. A lot of reels are that. I like it because if I want to speed up, I can. But if I want to slow down and slow roll some crankbaits, something like that, I can do that easier than with, say, the BMC 100, which has a gear ratio of 8 to 1 to 1. So that's quite fast. Not ultra fast, but quite fast. Bearings, it has 6+1 bearings. They're all stainless shielded bearings. 2 are what we call NMB bearings, and they are in the end plate and on the spool from what I can gather. And that is why, if I show you here, that is so free running and smooth. I've got it set on, well, it's set on over 0 now. Let's put it up to 0. There you go. It spools, well, spools. The spool spins faster and for longer than the BMC 100. I can't really show you that because I've got a line on that. But believe me, it does. It's extremely free running. The only concern is the brakes. Will they be strong enough to handle that spool? They state themselves, Seasir, that it's designed for 3.5 grams and up, and it will cast a 3.5 gram lure 30 to 15 meters. I don't doubt it. It's just what it will do in less than perfect conditions that concern me. It's got an aluminium main gear, and as I said, the whole thing is very, very smooth. It doesn't feel really geary. You know, it's not an outer bearing, but it reminds me of the Cura. It's very, very close in its smoothness. It's that kind of level. Drag-wise, it's got 9 kilograms of drag, which, you know, I can't prove that for you. I'm not that much of an engineer myself. Which is 19.8 pounds, and it's built on 4 carbon drag washers there. Oh, there's a whack. Yeah, got that ass. This'll take. Oh, he's got me in the shit. Oh, I got him up again. Rod bending nice. Yeah, nice little ass that. Wouldn't handle that well. Alright. Get him in that net. Hopefully I filmed that for you. Just gonna, he's not bad size. That was kind of what I was after. I've got to be careful. You can see the teeth on the little fella. Let's pick him out. Take a time with him. Where is he? Oh, it's got to do that. There. So, power BFS RAS. That's what I was aiming for. Nice. Rod great. Reel handled it. Brakes are what they're stating is 5 strong rubidium magnets, and it's on a static array. So let's have a little look at that. So to take the spool off, same as the Commando, flick that forward, give it a twist, pop it off. Let's take the spool out and have a look. You can see it's a ported shallow spool. Quite nice, but as I said, quite heavy at 9.4 grams. Let's pop that back in there, and let's have a look at the brakes. So you can see we got 5 of those magnets. Now a lot of reels have more than that, but it's the quality of the magnets. Only testing it on the bank really will prove anything. Companies can state what they like, but you know, till I get on the bank, I'll let them know. And obviously it's a static array, and as you move this, it goes closer to the spool. And if you have a look at the spool, it's got a plate there, and it has an effect of produces a magnetic force which controls your spool and hopefully stops you getting bird's nests. It's got a tapered line guide. Hopefully you can see that if I turn it like that. It's ceramic, so yeah, bog standard these days. These wheels got a lot better like that. Other things we can talk about are it has a clicking drag star. Hopefully you can hear that. It has clicking end tension. One thing I have noticed is that very first click seems to take longer to happen on occasions than the rest of the clicks. But it is very positive. You know, there's a little bit of play in the thumb bar, but it's very positive. So that's what you're paying the money for, isn't it? If you want these things ultra solid, then you're going to pay a lot more money. But you might just want to kit yourself out with a few of these. What else has it got? It has a clicking drag, which, you know, it's audible drag, as they like to say. Good sound to it. I'll compare it to the BMC for you here. Take the drag off. Always store your reels with the drag off. Very similar. Maybe that's a little bit quieter. I like that. It lets me know how fast that fish is running, gives me more contact. I'm more aware of what's going on. I can make adjustments on the fly when I'm fighting a fish. So really, all that remains is to get out on the bank with it. Couple of differences between the two reels. Obviously, this is saying it's got 9 kilos of drag. The BMC 100 says 5 kilos, which is more like a traditional 50 size BFS reel. Gear ratios and the extra spool, really. There are other things, but I haven't got time to go through them. You want to see me trying to cast it and maybe catching some fish. Catch you in a bit. All right, so we're going to do a review on the Seasir Commando. It's a 100 size BFS reel. I'm just going to do some casting. To start off with, I paired it up with the Mavlos Plume. I'll show you that. The Plume by Mavlos C602 Ultralight. And this will cast 0.6 to 8 grams lures. It's 40 ton carbon. I've done a review on this, so check that out. I'll put it in the description or something like that for you to see. The line, I've got the shallow spool on because this reel comes with 2 spools. It comes with a deep spool and a shallow spool. And I've got 9 pound Kingdom microfly on, which is very fine. I think they say it's 0.2 PE, 0.4 PE. I'll put a picture of that up as well so you can see. And I've got an 8 pound Berkeley 100% fluorocarbon leather on. I'm going to start off with a lure that's around 5 grams and see where we go from there. So I've set the spool up with little or no side to side play. Brakes 4.5, just over wind behind me. Nice easy cast. And it's out there. And the spool is extremely free running. So it could well be good. Ooh. I mean, that's the wind off my back there. Picked up a bit of weed. I'll just tilt myself forward, show you where it winding, and hopefully you can see the splash. I'm filming. Yeah, it's going out there, a nice steady cast. Ooh, I felt like I hit there. There'll be a lot of small school bass and mullet in here. Nice steady wind. There's not tracking that brilliantly actually. Let's tune in a bit. Let's go down lower. So it's pretty much standard fare. Yeah, it's going out there. Didn't have to thumb it then, we're just over 4. It is doable. And it is a very smooth reel. We'll go down lighter and see what happens. I'll try a little bit lower on the brakes. Go down to 4.1. Yeah, with no wind in its face, it's coping with that. A steady retrieve. Oh, I think I'm hitting clumps of weed to be honest on the bottom. Right, we'll have a go down to 4. You've got to keep your cast very smooth and it will do it. Now, this is a 5 gram lure. If I switch around to the other side of the dam where the wind's in my face with it on 4, I'm expecting a bird's nest now. You can see the waves. A nice smooth cast. Yeah, and there you go. So it's a bit of a false impression the other side. And we have a beauty. Oh god. Alright, now I've untangled that. Let's put it back up to 5. Try. Yeah, it's done at 5, but obviously it's getting no distance. Fair enough, the wind's in my face, so I wouldn't expect it to do any better. But what might have shown on camera was that this very fine line went between the spool and the frame, which isn't something I've had with the Solar King. Let's go back to this side, do a few more casts of it down near 4. So what I'm finding is, when the conditions are nice, it's you know, the wind off your back like it is this side, it's very It's very good. It's very free running. You've got to keep hover your thumb over it. It's quite fishable. You get any sort of wind the other way and you're struggling a bit. I will check the spool tension. So let's have a look. Oh, I can barely feel that moving. Let's take it up a click or two. Yeah, there's nothing there now, so there's no excuse now. And I think the problem it has is it's got the lovely free running spool. You know, I can't deny that. That's what we want, but we want a bit more brakes to manage that spool at times. Anyway, let's try a lighter lure. Right, so now I put the Cripple jerk on, which you can get off Paul Gascoigne. Paul Gaskell. You'll have a laugh at that. I'll leave it in. We'll adjust the brakes to just below 5. And out it goes. Yeah, the brakes feels a little as though it's over braking, so we'll drop the brakes. There's flatter sides to this lure and a different action to the other one. It's more of a jerk bait, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to pick up a small bass here. I'll make sure no one's around. That wind is very stiff at my back, so maybe I'm dissing the reel a little bit, but that's, you know, that's a good distance. Great distance for the lure. It's very smooth, the reel. You just want a couple more magnets, which maybe I know moderator of my group, BFS Budget Finesse Fishing. Check it out. Come join us. It's a lovely community. Glenn in Australia has ordered one as well. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on with it, and maybe we can sort out between us a little modification with some cheap magnets to make it a great reel. Take the brakes down a bit further. So it is usable. It's just not as user friendly as the Solar King Brownie, the BMC 100. You'll have seen I did a review of a minute ago, a few weeks back, on the same rod. So what we're going to do is going to put some heavier lures on it, and I'll show you how I set it up for those in a bit. Right, so it's casting that lovely at just over 4. We'll take it down to 4. I would imagine it would be a nice reel to sort of pitch with. I'll try a pitch in a minute because it is so free running. We'll turn the brakes up a little and we'll do some little pitches. So we'll turn the brakes up a bit. Got the 4 3/4, and I'll just pitch some lures out there. I went left a bit, right a bit, even though I'm on my left, my right at the minute. Excuse me. I'm trying to avoid my other rod without having to stand in puddles. You know, there. Yeah, we'll do that. It's controllable. It's not spooling up on me. Let's try some backhands. Yeah, doing that. Bit short. I'm just going to put a few centimeters back. Squeeze them on, bite them on. I'm going to use 2. These are obviously lead free. Anyone's worried. The idea is if they get snagged, they'll probably pull off. And I'll put a little bit of isome on the end here. It needs to run a bit smoother, so a bit freer, so I'll take the brakes down a bit more. Not flicking it far, I just want to be able to, there we go, flick it off that rod tip to where I want it. Well, I have every confidence this reel would do it. Just let it sit there. Someone will find it. If nothing finds it after a few seconds, just give it a little. Oh, got something. Yeah, already hooked him. Oh, no, I have never caught one of these. He's tangled himself up. It's a scorp around his gills. It's only a little one, but I caught one. Excellent. Let's try and unhook him without. Oh, he's vibrating, making a funny noise. I'll get the, there. Beautiful little animal. They get a lot bigger than that, but how cute is that? Let's put him back in. Come on. Be having one of you this time. Yeah, got one. Will it stay on? Little no. Tom pot. Let's put him down. There we got him. There he is. Beautiful little tom pot. I had a bigger one last week, but you know, they all count. Let's put him back. 4.5 on the brakes will do. Thereabouts. There. And a looser spool tension this time. And let's see what happens. That's the casual cast. The wind's changed, coming from the side a little bit more rather than straight over the back. That's fine. That's all good. So the 3.5 gram lure, or thereabouts, we'll weigh it. Show you a picture in picture. Is casting fine. So this is where it should be working. 3 grams to sort of 12 grams, being a slightly larger spool. With the deeper spool, you could probably push that higher. Another cast. Yeah, can't complain at that. It's probably a reel. Once you get used to it and you get used to dialing it in, you'll know you'll be able to fish it quite effectively. But I wouldn't be buying it for fishing for trout. Yeah, it's accurate, it's straight, it's very, very smooth. Let's take the brakes down a bit more, bearing in mind we got the spool set even looser now. And out it goes. Yeah, it casts wonderfully like that. I mean, I've got 50 meters of braid on there, which is what I tend to do, 50 to 60 meters, and then what I have left. Yeah, that's lovely. It's a great distance. It's very smooth. The whole reel is very smooth. So my initial impressions are, it is quite fishable once you get to know it. And its quirks, it ain't half bad. For £25, well, I'm giving it some there now, and it's going a long way. It's very good value. Got a little Rapala on there, and this is 1.7 grams. I expect it at 4.5 I'll start, it's going to be over braking. Yeah, it's going way to the left. Let's edge the brakes down. They're down on 4 now. Now I wouldn't typically be trying to use this with this reel. What I've just taken off around 3 grams is what I would be trying to use. You can see it's going to the left again. It takes more inertia to get that lure to work. Get that spool moving, that heavier spool. Bear in mind, I think it's about 9.3 grams. So it's slightly heavier than the Solo King as well. We're getting straighter now, so it is just about doing it. We'll take the brakes down a little bit more in perfect conditions. Take them down further. I'm going to drop that. Release a little earlier. Yeah, it's not that accurate though. We're expecting too much of it. I'm releasing a little earlier, getting it to go fairly straight. I'll take the brakes down a little bit more, but let's see if we got any sort of drop on it. Nah, it's barely pulling it off the rod tip, you see. I'll get the leather in a better place. It's slowly taking it off the rod tip. Steady drop. We'll loosen the end tension off some more. It's a bit fiddly to find that end tension. I find this with the outer bearing, and I find it with the Acura. Exactly the same thing. One minute you think you got it perfectly, and then it just doesn't. That's definitely, you know, I'll come off there now. Yeah, straighter. But no, it's I'm trying to do too much with this. I'm trying to see if we can't push its limits. I think I got that intention perfectly right. And then it's this very tricky reel to set up. There, we got a bird's nest there. I've come off too much with the end tension and the brakes. What we'll do is we'll put the brakes up with this looser end tension. We'll drop the brakes a bit more again, and then we'll go up to the 3.5 gram lure. See, it's done that now. Wind off my back, slightly from the side actually now. It's cast at an okay distance, but your timing has to be so spot on. Your release has to be perfect a little earlier, and you can get it to go fairly straight in front of you. Alright, so what we've done now is switch across to the Surinoya Dragon 2 Versatile, which is the QLC 6102ml, 6'10", lures 4 to 12 grams, lines 4 to 8. You can see I've already scratched the thing on the rocks yesterday. You will see me catching a wrasse with this outfit. We've kept the shallow spool on, and we've put a 9 gram plug on. It's a suspending plug, which is doing the review. I'm hoping to catch some fish as well. So let's see what it drops like in it. It's very quick. Got the brakes up high. That's better. So as you can see, it's casting this lure beautifully. I wouldn't typically be using the shallow spool for weights as high as this. I'd switch to the deeper spool, but we're sure getting some distance, and the reel is doing it. Let's drop the brakes, see what we can do. Let's go down to about, let me show you, down to just over 4. Going out beautifully, well out into the sun there. Oh yeah, let's go down to 4. Just to the left there of the sun. Very shallow over that way. And wind very slowly. Yeah, so it's eminently fishable like that. That's controlled. It's not wind in my face. We'll turn and try and do one with the wind in my face now. We'll put the brakes up and try to cast into the wind over this side. Yeah, it's done it. Didn't bird's nest. Bit of line lift on max. So with a heavier lure, it will cut through the wind without bird's nesting too much. I haven't adjusted my spool end tension here. It's still very loose, so I was able to cast that 2 gram lure. Keep the rod tip up. Well, it's fishing, isn't it? I just wish it had a couple more magnets, and then I could do a bit more with it. Maybe even one more magnet. We'll experiment. We'll get hold of some and see if we can't clip them on if there's enough space within the reel. Right, switch across to the deeper spool now. So you get 2 spools with this reel. It's on the Dragon 2 still, the Versatile, and I'm still with the Pachinko. I haven't touched the end tension. Alright, so there's still a little bit of side to side play there. Let's see what the drop's like. Very fast, which I expect it to be. Let's see how controllable it is. Yeah, that's going out there lovely. That's with the brakes on. I should have put them higher, just above 4. So with the wind at your back, it's doing it. So I can't complain too much of that, can I? If you're fishing into the wind with heavier lures, you're gonna and a deeper spool, you're gonna have no option but to put a bit more brakes on it or a bit more end tension. If you're a beginner, this is what I'd do. I'll show you what I would do, because you've got to treat it the same as a standard bait caster now. I mean, I've shown you I've not adjusted it at all and switched across, and it will do it in perfect conditions, wind off my back. But typically what I would do, I mean, let's see what it's like going into the wind if I put the brakes up with no playing around. So I'll put the brakes up to just below 5 now. I'm not going to hammer it. Just a nice, steady, smooth cast. And it's done it, isn't it? So I cannot complain about that. I mean, that's out there into a stiff wind. You know, it's lifted right at the end. That's 10-pound braid with a 10-pound fluorocarbon leather on just below 5. And I'm impressed with it like that. So let's try a backhand cast. Yeah, my time was a bit out, but it's done it. Lifted right at the end. But you know, that's probably me. If you're a beginner, when you're using the heavier spool here, you know, because that might be what you want it for. You want to dip your feet in the BFS for like sort of 3 grams and up. I mean, that's what they're stating it's good at, and I'd say yes, it is quite capable of that. With just a little bit more magnets, I would say it would be even more capable. It would be one hell of a reel. But if you're a beginner and you're using the heavier spool, how I would set it up is, if you watch the drop now, it's going to be very fast. And see how that kicked up then? Now, to give yourself confidence with it, and maybe be able to use the magnetic brakes a bit more, I would adjust it so I'm tightening it. You watch it now. Yeah, I stopped it then, I couldn't help myself. See, it's kicking up still. You want a slow, steady drop, so see if I can get somewhere near it. Now, I didn't kick up then, did it? Let's see. Yeah, a little. But it's all about confidence and being able to fish. You know, we do these videos and we show the limits of what something will do. But let's see what the drop's like now. Bit slower. Did kick up. But this is a heavy lure, so just take it back a bit more. There, hardly kicked up at all. But if you see how steady that is, see? I would say that's about right. You could go tighter. Let's go a bit tighter. You know, that's not kicking up, is it? But it feels like it's holding it back a little. Yeah? Let's try it like that. Let's untangle the top hook. See what it performs like that. So I'm not treating it like a BFS reel now, where I want little or no side to side play, a really free running spool to give us the chance to get that heavy spool. So on the lighter spool, I think it's 9.3 grams. It's quite heavy for a BFS reel to get going, because the lower you go, the more free running, the more effort it takes to get that heavier spool running. That's why standard BFS spools are around 4.5, 5 grams. So this is quite a bit heavier. Let's see how it goes with this end tension. It's out there, it's super controlled. I probably didn't need to thumb that then. So that will give you the confidence to use this reel in less than favourable conditions. You know, the wind's in my face, it keeps picking up and dropping down. It's dropped it down a bit now. I can't even see my lure. My eyesight isn't what it used to be. Here's it off. I'm looking completely the wrong place. Birds can see it though. And then you can go a little bit lower on your brakes and things. I'm punching that out into a headwind, and it's going good distance. So it is a good reel, you know, if you learn how to use it. So take what I've shown you from that, and as you gain experience with your reel, you familiarise yourself with it, you can fish it freer and freer and freer, and you'll get down to those 3 grams and things like that then. So it's a hard reel to criticise. It's just learning how to use it. Look, that there. There, see, it didn't even click up. Look at the distance that's gone. It's a heavy lure, so they're easier to cast. So it's definitely fishable with the bigger lures. I've got far more control over it. You know, I'm going down in the brakes, we'll go down further. So this isn't BFS what I'm doing now, because I'm using a deeper spool. You know, we're medium light here now. If you put the shallow spool on this reel, you're talking power BFS, which is a lot of what you'll do in the States. So if you're in America and you're wanting a versatile reel, something you can use for throwing baits like this, for bass, black bass, use spinner baits, small spinner baits, that kind of thing, it will do it. You could use heavier lures than this. Let's go down with the brakes a bit more, because we got that intention there. That is beautiful, accurate. I cannot complain at that at all. Right, let's wrap this up. So what do I think? It's a great reel. Could be even better if I'm going to be picky. I'd have a smidgen more brakes on it just to make it a bit more user-friendly in adverse conditions. But, you know, that's not much of a fault. The more I fish with it, the more I like it, the better I get at dialing it in, the more familiar I get with it. One other thing which I find with the Acura, and I also find with the outer bearing. So for a beginner, it's not the easiest to find that minimal side-to-side play. What happens is you find it and you think that's all great, and it does fish well like that. But you then sort of get quite a wide range where you can take it off, take it off, take it off, to find that absolute sweet spot where it will cast the lighter lures the most effectively, enabling you to sort of pitch and flip and all that kind of thing. All of a sudden it goes off the edge of a cliff. Now, I don't know what that is. It's almost that it's so smooth, like the Acura. Everything is so smooth. It doesn't feel so, it feels almost a little spongy there with the side-to-side play. But I'm just picking. I got used to it. It wasn't a problem. If you're a beginner, you might struggle with that a little, but you'll find that sweet spot. You'll get used to dialing it in and doing. Once you dialed it in and you got it right, it's right. And then, you know, you've got your brakes you can use then. But yeah, if that makes sense, I'm picking it apart here. That's my job as a reviewer. But go get yourself one for £25. I think I paid, give or take £1 or £2. Delivered to the UK at the moment. If you can get hold of a left-hand one, if you're a lefty or righty, get what you can, because it is really worth it and it's such a versatile reel. This shall be my main budget BFS, but power BFS reel. So I hope that helps a lot of people. Buy with confidence. Cheers, Constant Angler. Please like and subscribe.